Yesterday, the FBI, under the leadership of Director Kash Patel, launched a task force to address the nationwide crime wave against Tesla dealerships, vehicles, and charging stations. Well, since Tesla CEO Elon Musk started his Doge purge of federal employees and wasteful spending, there have been numerous reports of activities like arson, vandalism, and gunshots. In his announcement of the task force, Director Patel went as far as calling the acts domestic terrorism. Well, Congress is weighing in as well, calling for FBI action. Joining me now to discuss this and more, Congressman Andy Biggs, a member of the House Judiciary Committee and the Committee House Oversight and Government Reform. He's also on the Judiciary Committee as the chairman of the Subcommittee on Crime and Federal Government Surveillance. He represents the 5th Congressional District of Arizona. Chairman Biggs, welcome back to Washington Watch. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Tony. Good to be with you.
So you sent a letter to Director Patel last week on this very issue. Your reaction to his launching of this task force?
Well, I'm glad he's doing it. It's necessary. What we're seeing is just incredible criminality. It actually rises to the level of domestic terrorism, and it's spreading. It's getting worse. You actually have members of Congress who foment this violence, and then they say we're not doing any of that stuff. But you've got comedians, you've got television personalities, all getting out there and fomenting this anti-Doge, anti-Elon, anti-Tesla sentiment, and it's taking a lot of people in its wake.
Now, you know, you can call this violence, but you've been very clear about this, and Kash Patel making references as domestic terrorism. What makes it domestic terrorism?
Well, domestic terrorism is defined very clearly. It's when you violate any federal or state law, and you're doing it to either impact a politician or an elected official, or even if you're attacking it, basically the community or a group of people. You're trying to influence them by intimidating them through your activities. And so what we have here is there's vandalism. They're doxing people. They're coming out. I saw a video recently. A guy literally pulls his car over in the middle of a highway to stop a car and go up and berate the person. So these types of threatening and intimidating acts violate state law. And then they're being done to what? To intimidate the public, to change public policy, to impact people. That's pretty classical, according to the definition of domestic terrorism.
I'm wondering if the Southern Poverty Law Center has identified any of this activity as domestic terrorism.
Well, you and I are both smiling at that, Tony, because we both know that the SPLC is so totally woke and leftist that they would welcome almost. I don't know what their position is, but they're certainly not saying anything about this. They're not, as far as I can tell, I haven't found anything where they're condemning this. And it's kind of like what Senator Mike Lee said. Can't we get a single Democrat to condemn this kind of violence instead of encouraging it? And, you know, look for March 29th. That's when one of my colleagues has called for taking down Tesla and Elon Musk.
Yeah, let me ask you about that. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett fanning the flames for this violence, but she insists she's promoting nonviolence. I mean, are they not aiding and abetting terrorism? I mean, isn't that criminal activity?
Yeah, but here's the thing, Tony. The domestic terrorism statute, it actually is really clear. There's no aiding and abetting there. If you are actually inciting this kind of violence, you yourself are violating the domestic terrorism statute. So I think if you are doing that and a court were to find that you were doing it, you would have this criminal culpability. So I think Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, when she said that Representative Crockett really probably needed to watch very carefully what she's saying, I think that was a very open and transparent warning that you're very close to crossing the line if you haven't already crossed the line.
I mean, could you foresee the Department of Justice taking action against one of your colleagues that's inciting terrorism?
Yeah, I guess I can. I could. I mean, if you have somebody, because if you have somebody who is actually inciting terrorism and encouraging this kind of conduct, then you violate the law, because the free speech of Americans only runs into boundaries when you are inciting violence and causing that kind of trouble. I mean, if you're threatening and intimidating you by words, if someone were to say, "I'm going to kill you," or "go out and burn down a Tesla," or "if you don't sell your car, I'm going to come at you," guess what? That language in and of itself is not protected speech by any state statute that I know of, because the Uniform Criminal Code, which has been adopted by almost every state, would prohibit that, and no court is going to protect that speech either.
So let's talk about other cases that are non-Tesla related that the FBI should be looking into that may cross into this area of domestic terrorism. Are we seeing other things that the left is doing?
Yeah, but right now their focus is almost exclusively on anything related to Elon Musk. So they've made threats on his life. They've made, but one of the other things that you've got is when you have some of these town halls that they're in person, we can't do them in my district because of the threats. I don't worry about my own personal safety so much, but I do worry about the safety of those who are coming because they truly want to participate in the town hall. But with the threats being made towards my staff, my family, and these people, they really cross the line. And I know that this is a fact because, Tony, when I first got elected, we actually were doing live town halls, and we had to have undercover police in the next to my family. We had the whole back of the arena, for instance, was filled with sheriffs, and down front, because there were so many threats to me, my family, and the public. And that's when we said, look, you know what? I could stand up and smile, but that's great. But what about these people that are coming because they were berating people who simply wanted to get up and ask a question?
Right. Alarming. Andy Biggs, always great to see you. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure, Tony. Thank you.